Yes. Hello, everybody. So this is a crew presentation in the course Making a Difference at Turku School of Economics. And my name is Mariana Saarikko.
I am Ella Saarenko.
And my name is Kasper Rokama.
And the companies we chose to analyze in this assignment are cosmetic companies Estée Lauder, Lumene, and L'Oreal. And first we present these companies' circular strategies individually, and after that we give the comparison of the companies as well as our own recommendations when it comes to circularity. So I will start by presenting our first company. You can turn the next slide. Estée Lauder was founded in 1946, and it can be considered as one of the largest manufacturers and marketers for quality makeup, skincare, hair care, and fragrance products. Estée Lauder has over 25 prestige brands sold in approximately 150 countries and territories worldwide. A couple examples of Estée Lauder's brands are Tommy Hilfiger, MAC Cosmetics, and Clinique. Then you can turn the next slide. So about the circular strategy of Estée Lauder. So the company is integrating corporate citizenship and sustainability into its strategy and business operations, and managing the company's economic, social, and environmental impact is an ongoing practice. And here below you can see Estée Lauder's sustainability highlights for year 2020. So in the fight against climate change, they achieved both goals, which were to source 100% renewable electricity and to have net zero carbon emissions. Then you can take the next slide. Then the areas that Estée Lauder focuses on in their circular solutions and practices are climate change, responsible sourcing of their raw materials, as well as ingredient transparency, sustainable packaging, energy sourcing, and emissions caused, or that they are causing, social investments and employee engagement, as well as employee safety. And I think at this point it's good to point out that, as I said earlier, Estée Lauder has several different brands, and it is one of the largest cosmetic companies in the world. So this means that the different brands can have different actions and goals when it comes to sustainability. However, in this assignment, we aim at presenting the practices which Estée Lauder has implemented in each of its brands, and therefore like in the company as a whole. Then we can move on to our second company, which is Lumene.
Thank you. Next, I will introduce you to Lumene. The brand of Lumene was established in 1970 by a company called Noira. In 2005, the company's name was changed to Lumene. Lumene's roots and philosophy come from Finland and Finnish nature. Lumene manufactures and sells top-quality skincare and cosmetics. At the moment, Lumene's markets include Nordics, Russia, USA, UK, and China. May I have the next slide, please? For Lumene, circular economy is a way to fight against climate change. Lumene pays attention to circular economy in the whole life cycle of their products. Lumene is and aims to be, in the future as well, a Nordic pioneer of circular economy in cosmetics industry. The actions for circular economy began in Lumene's factory, and now they are expanding them to their suppliers and partners. Lumene aims to constantly improve the recyclability and sustainability of their products. Its goal is to be carbon neutral by 2025. Lumene also aims to have 80% of their plastic packaging made of recycled plastic or plastic that has been made of renewable sources by 2025. At the moment, Lumene is developing biodegradable packaging solution, and it will be ready after 2 or 3 years. May I have the next slide, please? Lumene's circular solutions and practices have been visualized with their circular economy map, which is visible here in the right. This map includes, for instance, how sustainability is considered in Lumene in their product development and sourcing of raw materials and packaging materials. Lumene is also investing in carbon neutral and water saving production. Lumene sees that the participation of consumers is important, and they encourage the consumers to be active. Lumene has also made instructions about recycling the packaging of their products in their website so that consumers are able to access it easily. Lumene has developed packaging that is easy to recycle. This means that they have replaced some materials and parts that made recycling difficult before. All Lumene's products have at least 80% of natural ingredients, and 50% of these natural ingredients come from side streams of forest and food industries. As most of Lumene's raw materials come from nature, Lumene also invests in protection of nature. This includes, for instance, swamp areas. Lumene also does a lot of cooperation with different Finnish companies and organizations. This includes, for instance, Lumene suppliers, from which Lumene is trying to get side stream raw materials, and then also other organizations with which Lumene aims for being a socially responsible company. That is all for my part, and next we will move to L'Oréal.
Right, so our third and final company is a French personal care company called L'Oréal. The company was founded in 1909, over 100 years ago, and is today the #1 cosmetics group in the world, with 29.87 billion euros in sales in 2019 and 88,000 employees. The group is present in 150 countries with 36 brands such as Garnier, Lancôme, and Maybelline. Now, having introduced the company, let's move on to L'Oréal's circular strategy. In 2020, L'Oréal announced its sustainability commitments for 2030 under its new sustainability program, L'Oréal for the Future. The strategy for the program is built on 3 pillars. The first pillar concerns the company's transformation to operate within the planetary boundaries. These boundaries, if crossed, compromise the Earth's suitability as a habitat for human development. The company's objective is to limit the impact of all activities on climate, water, biodiversity, and natural resources. The second pillar concerns the transition of the entire business ecosystem from suppliers to consumers. The last and third pillar of the strategy aims to directly contribute to solving social and environmental challenges. The strategy consists of many numerical goals, most notable of which are perhaps the group's commitment that all its sites will be carbon neutral by 2025. This is said to be achieved through improved energy efficiency, 100% renewable energy. Moreover, by 2030, 100% of the plastics used in L'Oréal's product packaging should be either from recycled or bio-based sources. Finally, by 2030, L'Oréal will reduce its entire greenhouse gas emissions by 50% per finished product compared to 2016. On the right, you can see L'Oréal's materiality matrix that was updated in 2016. The matrix was originally developed for the company's sustainability program, Sharing Beauty with All, launched in 2013 with goals for 2020. The materiality matrix is based on the criteria for the ISO 26000 standard. But by using the materiality matrix, the company recognized 10 issues to be strategic for both the group and its stakeholders. Among these strategic issues are, for example, energy efficiency and carbon footprint, product environmental footprint, as well as biodiversity and deforestation. In our view, the matrix demonstrates quite well how the company views issues to be related to its business operations. As for L'Oréal's circular solutions and practices, The company made notable progress in its sustainability efforts in the past decade, or since 2013 to be more precise. Under the company's previous sustainability program, L'Oréal accomplished, among other things, a 78% reduction in CO2 emissions in absolute terms, a 51% reduction in water consumption, and a 35% reduction of waste generated in plants and distribution centers since 2005. Since then, L'Oréal has announced to have partnered with LanzaTech Total in the creation of the world's first cosmetic plastic bottle made from captured and recycled carbon emissions. The process consists of LanzaTech capturing industrial carbon emissions and converting them into ethanol. Total then converts the ethanol into ethylene before it is polymerized into polyethylene that is promised to have the same technical characteristics as its fossil counterpart. This polyethylene is finally used by L'Oréal to produce packaging that is said to have the same quality and properties as conventional polyethylene. L'Oréal's goal is to use the material in the group's shampoo and conditioner bottles by 2024. L'Oréal USA has also joined the US Plastics Pact, which is an initiative that brings together companies, government entities, NGOs, researchers, and other stakeholders across the plastics value chain to transform the design, use, and reuse of plastics in an effort to direct change toward a circular economy for plastic in the United States. By joining the US Plastics Pact, the group committed to defining a list of problematic or unnecessary packaging and taking measures to eliminate them by 2025. To be more specific, all plastic packaging should be 100% reusable, recyclable, or compostable, and 50% of plastic packaging should be effectively recycled and composted by 2025. Additionally, the average recycled content or responsibly sourced bio-based content in plastic packaging should be 30%. As part of the sustainability program, L'Oréal for the Future, the group presents an environmental and social impact labeling system to inform consumers about a product's environmental impact. Products are given a score from A to E, A referring to best in class in terms of products' environmental impact. The score takes into account 14 planetary impact factors such as greenhouse gas emissions, water scarcity, ocean acidification, or impact on biodiversity, which are measured at each stage of a product's life cycle. In accordance with the strategy's third pillar, the group is also allocating 100 million euros to impact investing that is dedicated to the regeneration of ecosystems and the development of the circular economy, and 50 million euros to a charitable endowment fund, the aim of which is to support highly vulnerable women. The development of the circular economy concerns specifically the recycling and the management of plastic waste. Now, after this, I believe we can move on to the comparison between these companies.
Yes, thank you. So if we compare these three companies, we consider that there are no number one leader when it comes to all different elements of circularity. However, we can see some differences between the companies' actions. For example, if we talk about packaging, we can say that Estée Lauder and Lumene have the best goal in that area, since the companies aim at having 75 to 100 and the other 80% of their packaging to be recyclable, reusable, or refillable by the year 2025. And Lumene will in addition develop a biodegradable packaging solution in 2 or 3 years. L'Oréal has quite similar goals as Estée Lauder and Lumene regarding packaging. However, L'Oréal has a longer timeline in executing this goal. So we think that it only remains to be seen which of these companies succeeds best and earliest with their goals. Then if we take a look at the company's energy sourcing, we can say that Estée Lauder is a bit ahead of the other two companies. Estée Lauder has already this year, 2020, achieved a net zero carbon emissions and 100% renewable energy sourcing. Also, Lumene is already using 100% renewable energy and aims at being carbon neutral by the year 2025. L'Oréal's goal is also to be carbon neutral and to use 100% renewable energy, but this goal is by the year 2025. So L'Oréal is a little behind comparing to Estée Lauder and Lumene in this area of circularity. Then when it comes to suppliers and raw materials sourcing, Estée Lauder's circular strategy is to have or use no deforestation, no conversion, or no peat. Then Lumene uses part of its raw materials from other industries' side streams, and L'Oréal has reduced the amount of waste generated by 35%. As well as Estée Lauder, Lumene does not use any peat. And when it comes to water consumption, L'Oréal has reduced the consumption by 51% and Lumene by 40%. And then regarding Estée Lauder, so we didn't find a similar number, but otherwise their water consumption is clearly and transparently presented in their sustainability report. That was the comparison part. We can move forward.
So next we are going to discuss the circular economy partners that these companies have. So let's start with Estée Lauder. The citizenship and sustainability work of Estée Lauder is led by the Senior Vice President of Global Corporate Citizenship and Sustainability, who reports to the President and Chief Executive Officer. The SVP directs a dedicated team that leads corporate-wide sustainability strategy, citizenship efforts, and strategic planning and communications around citizenship and sustainability, including supporting brand-led sustainability strategies. Estée Lauder has several partners with whom they work together in order to achieve sustainability and circular economy. Some of these partners are listed here. Next, we will move on to Lumene. We could not find any information that who is leading the sustainability and circular economy work at Lumene. One of the reasons for this might be because the sustainability report of Lumene has not yet been made, and it is assumed that it will be published in the end of this year. However, Lumene has still several partners with together they work to achieve circular economy. Rinki Oy is handling Lumene's waste management and recycling. Together, they are trying to find ways to decrease the waste of Lumene's production, as well as make sure that the waste from the production could be recycled much better. Some of the solutions have already been found, and they are also developing for new ones. Lumene has been working for several years together with the Finnish Association for Nature Conservation, mainly in the protection of swamps. Lumene is also actively participating in the protection of water areas, as water is one of their most important ingredients. Because of this, Lumene also aims to decrease their water consumption as much as possible, which is why they have been working together with WaterSmart to decrease the consumption of water during the years 2007 to 2019. During this time, they were able to decrease the consumption by 40%. Then we will move to L'Oréal. The circular transition of L'Oréal in the organization is led by the group CEO, Jean-Paul Agan, together with Alexandra Palt, the Chief Corporate Responsibility Officer and Executive Vice President of the L'Oréal Foundation. The company collaborates with several partners on circular economy solutions. As mentioned earlier, L'Oréal has partnered with Lanstech and Total in the creation of the world's first cosmetic plastic bottle made from captured and recycled carbon emissions. The company has also partnered with NGOs such as Mission Blue and Terra Ocean Foundation for ocean protection. One result of the company's commitment to preserve aquatic ecosystems is said to be the Water Lover sunscreen by Biotherm, one of the company's brands that is 95% biodegradable. And that is all for me, so we can move on.
So now we're moving on to the recommendations that we have for these organizations and how they could increase circularity in their operations. The first recommendation that we have is for these companies to move towards no packaging or refillable packaging for their products, since packaging essentially has no use for the consumer once the product is consumed. We had an example of this by the company Lush that uses no product packaging in their products. So once when you go to those stores, you essentially see nothing but the product, which you can then buy and take home for use. Another aspect that we took a look at was the packaging size. Packaging sizes in terms of premium products, the sizes tend to be relatively small. But we thought it would be beneficial if the sizes were actually bigger, so that the product itself would last longer and there would be less need for less need to buy more products. The second recommendation that we have is an increased use of natural residual materials from other industries. An example of this was presented earlier by Lumene, where the side streams of forest industries and food industries are used in the making of their products. This would reduce the use of virgin resources and help the companies to transition from a linear economy to a more circular one. The third recommendation that we have is to pursue, or for companies to pursue, carbon negative emissions across the supply chain. Now, it was already mentioned that Estée Lauder has accomplished their goal of zero or net zero carbon emissions, but we think it would be better for these companies to pursue to make a positive contribution to the state of the planet, rather than just minimizing harmful impact, which is more or less the case for L'Oreal, for example. Finally, we suggest companies to pay more attention to making more durable products from the very beginning of the design process, so that they're actually made to last and not made to buy or consume. This would directly affect the amount of resources used for reducing the total. Now, if we move on to observations and policy suggestions that we have in terms of how policymakers could enhance the process of moving towards a more circular economy, and how Finland is positioned in this transition. We think that Finland is in a disadvantaged position in the sense that it has a relative lack of resources, particularly in human and financial resources. However, we think that in the case of small actors, for example, in comparison with the two other major global organizations, Estée Lauder and L'Oreal, Lumene is a relatively small player in the business, but we think that this gives the company advantage in the sense that it is more agile and new solutions can be applied faster. We also think that Finland is well positioned for this economic transition, in the sense that it has a cultural tendency to preserve nature. It is more or less in the national interest to make progress on this front that encourages innovation in circular economy. As for policy suggestions, we have a two-way approach from top down and bottom up. First, the government could think about providing financial grants and loans for circular product research and development. And this would be the top-down approach from government level to businesses and consumers. And from the bottom up, we suggest education to be provided regarding circular economy and recycling on all educational levels, because with knowledgeable citizens, they would insist changes to be made, and this would provide a holistic transition from linear economy to a circular one. Finally, here's a list of our references used in this report, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.